Everywhere, GBS.
A very good evening and thank you for joining GBS News at 9. My name is Stephen George and our sign language interpreter tonight is Paul Madenge. And now, President William Ruto has today urged his opponents to find a new agenda of the 2027 coming general election, as David Karani reports.
Watu wa Rongo, mimi nataka niwaulize, saa hizi ni wakati wa siasa ama ni wakati wa maendeleo? Saa hizi ni wakati wa siasa ama maendeleo? Si ni wakati wa maendeleo?
It is one among the first statements that President William Ruto made in Migori County, dismantling what the opposition calls unity of purpose, led by the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua.
Kuna watu wengine wanataka kutuelekeza kwa mambo ya siasa. Wanaelekeza sisi kwa mambo ya chuki. Wanatuletea migawanyiko, wanatuletea ukabila. Mimi nataka niwaambie hawa viongozi, tulizeni boli, tuko na kazi ya kufanya kwanza. Ikifika wakati wa uchaguzi, nyinyi ndio mtaamua. Si mtajua ni nani amefanya nini. Sasa mimi nataka niwaambie hawa jamaa, wacheni kimbelembele, wacheni fitina na chuki, wacheni mambo ya ukabila. Wacha tujenge Kenya. Hawa wananchi wako na akili, wataamua nani yako na mpango ya kujenga Kenya, nani yako na mpango ya ukabila.
President William Ruto, who seemed to have been trembled by the opposition's unity after they promised to deal him a huge blow in the 2027 general elections, and this comes in after Fred Matiang'i joined the list of the opposition, a message which he delivered yesterday.
Huyu ameenda hivi, huyu anafanya hivi namna hii. Tuko tayari. Kazi ya kuongoza nchi na kazi ya kuendesha nchi sio kazi ngumu. Watu wengine walikuwa wananiuliza kwa public live, are you serious? Nikasema there is no time in my life I've never been serious. Because wakati nilikuwa Minister for Education, mimi kazi inachangamka sana. Nilikuwa hapa nafungua container ya mtihani saa 9 usiku.
Yeye nadhani mahali Ruto hapo anajuta, na wahenga alisema majuto ni mjukuu. Msiuzie uoga. Don't even try to bet. Hawa ni viongozi ambao wanajuana. Sisi hapa tutakubaliana at the right time. Yale ambayo tunauliza ni maombi, na tumekuja hapa Munyoro leo. And Munyoro, the so-called villager, has become the true nationalist, the true patriot.
The die is cast and battle lines drawn between the government and the opposition.
Wale tunashindana na hao waanze kujipanga kuuza ama kutafuta sera ya kuuzia hao wananchi. Chuki na fitina na ukabila iko pejini sana. That they cannot succeed with.
Hawa jenzi ndio watatusaidia. Na tunataka kuambia waandikishe vitambulisho, wachukue kura, ndio watu watatusaidia kutengeneza serikali mpya ambaye inajali maslahi.
David Karani, GBS News, Nairobi.
Moving on swiftly, in Siaya County, the debate over the proposed constitutional entrenchment of the National Government Constituencies Development Fund has sparked mixed reactions among residents. While some support the fund for its role in transforming underdeveloped areas, others are raising red flags over what they called political interference and misuse. High Court advocate Maurice Okumu was among those voicing concern, warning that allowing members of Parliament to manage the fund undermines the constitutional principles like the separation of powers. He urged lawmakers to first address conflict of interest and governance issues before pushing for constitutional amendments. Meanwhile, supporters of the CDF say its impact is undeniable, it cannot be denied, and call for its protection in law.
I have read the bill dated 26th of February 2025, and from the onset, I wish to join with many Kenyans in opposing this bill in its entirety. And why am I proposing to reject the bill together with many Kenyans? One, The courts in this country have many times, more than 3 times, pronounced themselves that anything to do with budgets to be controlled or to be put in the hands of people who are elected is unconstitutional. Previously, they gave different reasons, one of them. But I wish to state here that I'm extremely disappointed in the manner in which this process, the National Assembly are calling it public participation. It does not even measure, because they intend to amend a section or Article 204 of the Constitution of Kenya, and the Kenyans do not know what that article talks about. They know very well that there has been no civic education on devolution of Kenya, and now they want to bring this insertion of these 3 provisions to have money in their hands, when the courts have said in the past that it is unconstitutional.
I want to register my support for the bill because this bill has done a lot for the people of Kenya in general. The place where we are now standing was built by the same bill of finance that created by our former leaders, who are aware when we could not get devolutions of money down here. But after a deliberation and deliberate actions by our MPs who managed to create this opportunity, has made Ugunja to be a different thing. We have now have the DC's office here. We are now having the Treasury office here. We are now having the CDF office here. We are now having the cereal here. And we are having the water here. So that money should be in place, but law should be enacted.
And I want to fully support the bill that is out here to put CDF into law. Because as the people from Ugunja and Nyanza, we've been so much into opposition politics. So when CDF came, it actually harmonized that. We did not require our MPs to kneel before presidents to get money. When CDF came, we've seen what it has done. Even if it was not part of the law, but we should not be even talking about doing away with it. What we should be talking about is about adding more funds to the kitty, because its impact can be felt anywhere you go. In Kenya today, you can easily spot a project done by CDF, but not a county. So that's a fund that we should protect with everything in our possession.
They raised serious concerns about escalating drug and substance abuse among young people. Shocking new statistics revealed that 1 in every 11 Kenyans aged between 15 and 24 is currently using substances. A Trend Public Health PS Mary Mudhoni once demands immediate action. A recent survey conducted between November of last year and February has pinpointed 10 counties as being at particularly high risk. That is Garissa, Kakamega, Kericho, Kisumu, Laikipia. We also have Machakos, Meru, Mombasa, Nakuru, and Uasin Gishu. The data further indicates that alcohol, miraa, tobacco, cannabis, and prescription drugs are the most commonly abused substances among this vulnerable age group. This issue extends to the young working class, with approximately 1.5 million Kenyans aged 25 to 35 years old also affected, raising fears of a significant impact on national productivity. In response, this alarming trend, the Ministry of Health is set to launch a nationwide sensitization campaign prioritizing the 10 high-risk counties, while also urging young people, particularly those in higher learning institutions currently on holiday, to refrain from substance abuse and seek help if needed.
It's of great concern when you see the young people, and especially the ages between 15 and 35 years. They are the ones who are involved in drugs and substance use. Especially now when we know the youths, some of the youths who are in higher institutions, tertiary institution, they will be on long holiday. It is important to ask you that do not use drugs and substance. The current trends and the national data that is collected in 2022 underscores the gravity of the crisis among the young people aged 15 and 24 years, and that 1 in 11, approximately 632,000 individuals, is currently using at least one drug or a substance. And in the 25 to 35 age group, over 1.5 million individuals are reported to be affected. Through the Social Health Insurance Fund, we have been able to cater for detoxification services, rehabilitation services. We also have mental health services that are there for outpatient and inpatient. So it is important that these measures are designed to remove the financial barriers and standardize treatment costs and encourage early intervention and recovery for those that are affected. So we encourage people across the country that they may register to the Social Health Authority so that the masses can enjoy and can access these services with ease and with affordability without draining our pockets.
A section of angry Mombasa youth today stormed the County Assembly premises faulting the 2025 to 2026 budget-making process, which they say lacks transparency. They blasted Governor Abdul Swamad Nasir for neglecting their plight. Moreover, the youth decried the state of Mombasa City and described the local members of the County Assembly as a total failure. They proceeded to hand over their petition to the Assembly Speaker, who promised them to table it tomorrow before the Assembly.
Kupinga kwa sababu hawa MCA hawa vijana wa Mombasa wamejitokeza mbele na wako hapa tayari kupinga kwa sababu hawa MCA wetu tuliowa elect hakuna kazi wanaofanya. Kazi yao kubwa ni tatu peke yake: oversight, representation na legislation. Leo hii tunauliza wana oversight governor nini? Public participation hazifanywi, assembly haifanyiki. Sisi kama vijana wa Mombasa tunasema kwamba tutaifunga county assembly kama wameshindwa na kufanya kazi yao. Na tunawaambia na tunawakumbusha kwamba 2027 sio mbali. Hii takataka ambayo iko hapa county assembly haitoregea, na sisi vijana wa Mombasa tumeamua kwamba sahi tunachukua political leadership. Tunachukua political power.
Ikiwa mtu wa Mombasa hajahusishwa kwa kuchangia katika budget estimate, ni budget ya nani wanaipitisha hapa? Ni budget ya nani wanaipitisha? Ni budget ya MCA ama ni budget ya wakazi wa Pwani?
Na mwaka huu tuko makini na tunafuatilia masala ya fedha kuanzia budgeting mpaka approval ili kuhakikisha ya kwamba processes zote zinafuatiliwa.
Gavana wa Mombasa alituambia katika CIDP ya miaka 5 kwamba sisi kama vijana wa Mombasa watatujengea 6 resource center ndani ya Mombasa. Mpaka sasa hivi tuko na 0. MCA wanafanya nini? Mpaka sasa hivi sisi vijana wa Mombasa tunalia na stadium ya
In a major boost to healthcare in Western Kenya, Bungoma District Hospital has officially been elevated to a A-Level 6 teaching and referral hospital, joining the ranks of top national facilities like Kenyatta National Hospital. The Cabinet's bold move means residents will now enjoy better access to specialized care, modern medical equipment, and enhanced staffing. National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula hailed the development as a game changer that will eliminate the need for long journeys to Eldoret for treatment. Meanwhile, the government is also addressing long-standing issues beyond healthcare, scrapping unofficial ID card fees, restructuring coffee cooperatives to protect farmers, and calling for reforms in the security sector. Leaders across the region saying the change is not just coming, it's already here. Well, it is time for us to take a short break. Keep your feedback streaming into a social media platform at GBS TV Africa. The SMS line is 21144. We'll be right back.
And for the topic of the day is self-awareness and sisterhood. Self-awareness and sisterhood.
People know they're self-aware, but if you don't know how to act on it, then you're not really as self-aware as you think.
I usually say garbage in, garbage out, and whatever. You cannot give what you don't have. So impact yourself first and work on yourself. If you feel like they're draining you, well and good.
By the way, kuna kijana, unajua Ian amekuwa akinichanganya nini, and I really want us to be together. Uniambia, Ian, acha nikwambie, ufanye hivi na hivi na hivi. Alafu tunakuza friend dinner or something, na kuna una turn up na Ian, are you mad?
You know, as adulting is adulting, right now is the real intentionality that comes in. But if you are self-aware as a person, you get to now be intentional with ask. Kama mmekuwa distant, you can reach out.
Today's game is sing the artist song, right? Sing the artist song.
Nyashinski!
Aya basi, twende nalo.
Uko sana, wote malaika na mabawa ya, wote wanakita wendo mama ya.
Anza wiki yako kwa njia sahihi kwa GBS Jumatatu.
Niko nawe hadi mida ya saa 4 asubuhi. Kwanza niseme asante kwa kuzidi kufuatilia na kutazama vipindi vyetu ambavyo huwa tunakuandalia hapa ndani ya GBS TV Jumatatu. People are now seeing the money that have been given to church as a bribe.
Jiunge nasi kila Jumatatu asubuhi kuanzia saa 1:30.
Nimesikia mwenzangu akifanya hesabu hapo ya vile ambavyo miungano zitakuwa. Ruto is going to fail whether with Raila or without Raila.
Kuna mahali anakosea akisema ati Raila na Ruto wataungana. Hakuna kuungana iko hapo, ndugu yangu, aje nikwambie ukweli.
Hadithi za kunoga.
Ukiangalia Wakenya, wananchi wa Kenya, pia hao maisha yao imedhulumiwa kwa kuongezwa kwa taxes, ziko very high taxes. So the statement by Rigathi Gachagua is just statement ya kumcheck that we can see you we can see between the lines.
Na mazungumzo yenye nguvu ya kukuletea utulivu kwa wiki yako.
Ati Raila ataingia UDA
hapo no, hiyo ni ndoto. Mimi yote nasema hawezi, sababu nasema hivi mheshimiwa, ikiwa Raila
itakuwa, mimi naona itakuwa
hadi saa 4 za asubuhi kwa majadiliano ya kusisimua.
Mheshimiwa Rais William Samoei Ruto ajue ya kwamba sasa yeye ni president wa Kenya. Sio mambo ya kufanyia wana Kenya mzaha. Kupoteza biashara kwa siku moja katika CPD, nafikiria ni jambo ambalo ni rais.
Usikose, ingia kwenye GBS TV. Anza Jumatatu yako kwa kusudi.
If the government does not spend, my brother, hakuna maendeleo inaonekana, hakuna barabara zinatengenezwa, hakuna dawa kwa hospitali, my friend, economies will not grow.
Tuonane panapo majaliwa yake Mwenyezi Mungu.
GBS Jumatatu, palipo mjadala wa leo na mwelekeo wa kesho.
Topic of discussion leo is a hustle culture. Hustle culture, and this is working smart versus working hard.
Working hard is where nina hustle. I'm working like a donkey.
Unaweza pata maybe ulisoma, yes, maybe kumaliza shule, maybe hii inahitaji maybe diploma, maybe ulifika certificate level. So I feel pia knowledge inachangia sana.
Yes,
watu kukua kwa informal.
You have to like plan. You also have to delegate, and it's also sometimes about convenience. What is convenience for you?
Tunaweza work smart hata kama ni kwa informal jobs. Tuki-apply hiyo working smart, we can do something. Si lazima tu ikuwe ni kazi ile uko chini.
I'm picking a dare. Okay. What? Call your mom or dad and sing the chorus of their favorite song loudly. Mama Vanessa,
just a second.
We are live on TV. I need to...
Which TV?
GBS TV, I'm on the Youth Hub, and they want me to sing you a song. I've been dared to sing your favorite song. So
no, don't sing that one, man.
No.
Sing yours.
No, I will sing a nice one. I know many of your songs.
Sing daddy's song.
I sing daddy's song, fine.
Loudly, please.
I love you.
Shout.
You're my baby, I love you. You're the best. Bye, mommy. Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
I go.
Everywhere, GBS.
Now to international news. The International Court of Justice, ICJ, the United Nations' highest judicial authority, has dismissed Sudan's case, accusing the United Arab Emirates of complicity in genocide in the Darfur region. Sudan alleged that the UAE had violated the 1948 Genocide Convention by providing military and logistical support to the Rapid Support Forces, a paramilitary group accused of atrocities against the Masalit ethnic group during the Sudan's ongoing civil conflict. Here's more on the story.
The direct logistic and other support that the UAE has provided and continue to provide it to the RSF and their affiliated militia has been continue to be the primary driving force behind genocide now taking place.
Having come to the conclusion that it manifestly lacks jurisdiction, the court is precluded by its statute from taking any position on the merits of the claims made by Sudan.
The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called on nuclear-armed rivals India and Pakistan to exercise maximum restraint and avoid further escalation as tensions between the two nations continue to rise. The flare-up follows a deadly April 22nd attack in Palham, Indian-administered Kashmir that killed 26 tourists. India has blamed Pakistan for supporting the assault, though no group has claimed the responsibility. In response, both countries have issued strong threats and taken diplomatic action. Pakistan's military has now conducted 2 missile tests since the standoff began. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has granted the military full operational freedom to respond, while Islamabad has vowed to retaliate against any aggression. Guterres condemned the attack and urged justice through credible and lawful means. The UN Security Council was set to meet behind closed doors at Pakistan's request to discuss the crisis.
Also essential, especially at this critical hour, to avoid a military confrontation that could easily spin out of control. Now is the time for maximum restraint and stepping back from the brink. That has been my message in my ongoing outreach with both countries. Make no mistake, a military solution is no solution.
Pakistan has always and will condemn terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. This is our country policy. And we also declared we will not allow our soil to be used for any terrorist activity against any other country. The state is not involved at all in this sad incident.
Protests have once again erupted in Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, as citizens demand the resignation of the Prime Minister and transitional leadership in the face of escalating gang violence, with over 1,600 killed in the first 3 months of 2025 and more than 1 million displaced. Haitians are growing desperate for the decisive action as the government and international forces struggle to regain control.
Haitians took to the streets of Port-au-Prince to protest against the worsening gang violence and demanded the resignation of the country's Prime Minister and Transitional Presidential Council Citizens accused the interim leadership of failing to restore stability or counter the rising influence of armed gangs who now dominate major parts of the capital.
We need security, we need food, we need a place to sleep, we need health care. If you are the head of the state and you feel you cannot take responsibility, turn away and leave. If you do not feel up to the task, ask someone else. We have a 7-member presidential council. We cannot stand it anymore.
Protesters also highlighted the disturbing rise in the number of children being recruited into gangs, worsening Haiti's social and economic breakdown. More than 1,600 people have been killed and nearly 600 injured in the first 3 months of 2025 alone, with over 1 million people displaced by violence in recent years. Despite success by armed civilians reclaiming gang-occupied areas, most efforts to restore order have struggled. Haiti's national police and a UN-backed mission led by Kenyan forces remain under-resourced and outnumbered. As violence intensifies, Haitians continue to call for decisive leadership and an immediate action. Teresa Tiengo, GBS News.
Donald Trump is directing his government to reopen and expand Alcatraz, the infamous former prison on an island near San Francisco's Golden State Bridge. In a message on his Truth Social site, President Trump said that for too long, America has been plagued by vicious, violent, and repeat criminal offenders. The reopening of the Alcatraz, once notorious as one of the U.S. toughest prisons, will serve as a symbol of law, order, and justice, he said. Leading Democrats said the proposal was not a serious one. The maximum security facility, also known as The Rock, was closed in 1963 and is currently operating as a successful tourist site. President Trump has been clashing with the courts over his policy of sending alleged gang members to a prison in El Salvador. In March, he sent a group of more than 200 alleged Venezuelan gang members there. He has also talked about sending homegrown criminals to foreign prisons. The crisis in Gaza continues to worsen after humanitarian organizations raise alarms that a famine is imminent in the enclave. Israeli airstrikes continue to intensify as the death of Palestinians has exceeded 52,000. Furthermore, the crisis in Gaza has extended to the occupied West Bank, where Palestinians are facing violence from illegal settlers and facing the risk of permanent displacement. Abdi Hamed Ali has more.
The conflict in Gaza began after Hamas led an unprecedented attack on Israel, which resulted in the death of 1,200 Israelis and the abduction of more than 251 people. Israel has waged a war on Gaza that has caused a humanitarian crisis and a global debate on atrocities committed in war and the definition of genocide. The conflict between Israel and Palestine began 76 years ago during the formation of Israel, where native Palestinians were forcefully expelled from their homes, displaced, and the majority of whom were killed. Palestinians refer to this event as the Nakba, which means a catastrophe caused by a violent displacement and ethnic cleansing that is still happening to this day. Palestinians live under Israeli occupation. They are under constant surveillance, and their freedom to move and access basic needs like water is limited. Palestinians are subjected to raids in their homes, some assaulted and even arrested without trial. Children also faces similar atrocities. The raids caused grief as some Palestinians are killed during the incidents, which happens many times for the past 76 years. Analysts have called what is happening in Gaza and the occupied West Bank as a 21st century apartheid. South Africa, which also faced apartheid, have stood in solidarity with the Palestinians. Back in January 15th, Israel and Hamas agreed to a ceasefire, which is divided into 3 phases. The first phase involved the release of 33 Israeli hostages in exchange of Palestinian prisoners. Israel will allow aid to enter the enclave and the partial withdrawal of its military apparatus. Negotiations for the second phase were to occur during this period, but it failed. The first phase ended on March 2nd. The second phase of the ceasefire involved the release of all Israeli hostages in exchange of Palestinian prisoners and the full withdrawal of Israeli military from the enclave. The third phase involved the release of all deceased hostages and the reconstruction of Gaza, moving on to a permanent ceasefire. The point of disagreement in the ceasefire was because Israel wanted Hamas to disarm. However, Hamas refused to dismantle their influence in the enclave. Dr. Naif Al-Bidh, an expert in international relations and a lecturer at Modern College of Business and Science, explained how different factors in the shifting of global powers affected the ceasefire.
Ceasefires and the lack of finding a consensus on the ceasefire is not something totally, it's a perennial constant within the specific conflict. It's something that's always been happening. I think for me specifically, this specific ceasefire, what's been occurring recently, there's not only been a global shift in balance of power, there's also been a lot of drastic regional changes. I mean, not only what's happened in Syria, but what's going on in Iran, what happened in Iran, the developments the last year or so, Lebanon as well. Gaza has been destroyed and it's been flattened the past year, essentially. And even the resistance in Iraq or any other elements of the resistance is no longer there. So there's a lot of, and then there's the Trump presidency, and there's a new global shift in power. There are the changes in Russia. So all of these changes, I think, do affect the ceasefire. It's a zero-sum game right now. I think we are realizing that history was paused for a while. As Fukuyama said, history ended. It didn't really end. It was paused. We were in a unipolar order. We're shifting towards a multipolar one. And I think all of these specific changes do take shape eventually in these ceasefire agreements or attempted agreements. I don't think any of these would be successful either way.
Israel's assault on Gaza has caused a widespread catastrophe and a destruction throughout the enclave. During Ramadan, the military blocked aid such as food, clean water, and medical supplies from entering the enclave, resulting in famine and starvation. Last year, Gaza faced a polio and scurvy epidemic due to the lack of vaccines and medical supplies. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant received arrest warrants from the ICC for war crimes and crimes against humanity in Gaza. Dr. Naif explained why.
And with a huge disparity, and that's the situation, this is why I think many are quite disturbed about the current situation in Gaza because of the disparity in casualties. And hence why there is a push towards a support for Palestine. There's a large support for the Palestinian cause right now, large support for awareness on the specific issue specifically, and pointing fingers towards Israel because of the disparity. And again, I'm not saying that the casualties in Israel are irrelevant, not at all, but there's a huge disparity here, and this is a reflection of the disparity in military power.
Dr. Naif further explained why it's difficult to arrest the two leaders.
Is anything going to actually happen? And this is where we go back to the current state of affairs of international politics, the current shift that we're going through. It's no longer a unipolar order when there is one specific power, and a liberal one at that could support these intergovernmental organizations in upholding these liberal ideals. It's no longer that. It's power politics. And if the ICC has the power to arrest these two individuals, it would do so, but it doesn't. And then that's the tragedy of our situation right now. They do deserve to be condemned. They do deserve to be taken to court. But are they going to be taken to court? Even the U.S., I think, rejected such calls, and were critiquing the ICC recently.
The occupied West Bank has also seen an increase in violence and attack by illegal settlers encroaching their land. The livestock of Palestinian farmers have been stolen by settlers. Last month, Netanyahu's cabinet voted to annex 13 illegal West Bank settlements, making it further impossible for Palestine to become an independent state.
Now anything is possible, and it's everything. It's currently unpredictable with what's going on, but realistically speaking, in the short term, it's quite impossible. Yes, it's unrealistic, and I don't think we'll be seeing a Palestinian state anytime soon. And we discussed previously how Israel is an expansionist state, and it's going to make sure as much as it could that this specific reality won't ever occur.
The situation in Gaza and the occupied West Bank remains a critical issue that needs the attention of the global community, as Palestinians are losing their rights to basic access to food, clean water, shelter, and healthcare, and their dignity stripped away under the Israeli occupation. More than 52,300 Palestinians have been killed, making the situation in Gaza a bleak reality for the 2 million Palestinians facing genocide in the 21st century. This is Abdi Hamid Ali, GBS News.
It is time for your most favorite segment of the show, the Sports News. Let's get sporty. Kenya's rising stars are facing a make-or-break moment at the AFCON Under-20 tournament. After a promising start, they have now suffered a second consecutive defeat, this time falling 3-1 to Tunisia in Cairo. With just one group match left, their quarter-final hopes hang by a thread, as Elvis Muyodi reports.
Kenya's rising stars fell 3-1 to Tunisia in their second AFCON U20 group match at the 30th June Stadium in Cairo. Lawrence Ouma opened the scoring in the 37th minute, finishing off a cross from Hassan Beja. However, Tunisia equalized just before halftime through a penalty after a handball by Baron Ochieng. In the second half, a defensive mix-up between Captain Amos Wanjala and goalkeeper Clifford Odwor allowed Tunisia to take the lead. A late long-range strike by substitute Aladdin Debrali sealed Kenya's fate, despite fresh legs being brought on in search of an equalizer.
Tunisia, in the second half, they realized they were losing the match to us. They came up strongly. What we didn't realize was after the stoppages in the first half, and the referee added the 11 minutes. I think our first half ended at 45 minutes. We still had 11 minutes to play. The 11 minutes we couldn't manage to get a win. And the second half again, we came out, but Tunisia were more stronger than us in terms of how they were doing things. And then we allowed them to take control of the match totally. And I think that was our biggest undoing, allowing Tunisia to take control of the match, because in the first half we were superior than them. We were doing our things right. In the second half we allowed them to start running the show.
Tutachukua tu result vile iko, then tunaenda turekebishe pale hatujaenda poa, mali mistakes zimetoka, na tukuje turekebishe kwa game ya Nigeria. Of course game ya Nigeria haitakuwa rahisi.
Now with back-to-back losses, the Rising Stars must defeat Nigeria on Wednesday in their final Group B match to stand a chance of advancing as one of the best third-place teams. Elvin Muyodi, GBS Sports.
Well, we have come to it is always a pleasure having you on board. Let's do this again, same time, same channel. My name is Stephen George, and our sign language interpreter tonight has been Paul Madenge. Good night.
Everywhere, GBS.